Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. To start, I would like to welcome the class of 2024 to Northwestern. We hope you find the Roads to Business session beneficial as you begin your exploration at Northwestern. The fall quarter always brings extra excitement as the school year begins, and this year is no exception. Over the next 30 minutes, you will hear a short presentation from a variety of departments. We would like to hear from you during the second half of the hour. Thank you to those who submitted questions in advance during registration. We welcome questions today using the Q&A session. At this time, I would like to introduce you to Donna Sue, who will assist in moderating. Thank you, everyone. Go Cats.
Thank you, Patty. My name is Donna Wang Sue, and I'm the Associate Director of Operations at the Farley Center and one of your moderators today. As we adjust to a new virtual format for our Northwestern Roads to Business session, I do want to thank everyone for making the time to be here. So first up, I would like to introduce Professor Mark Whitty, Director of Undergraduate Studies and Professor of Economics, who, by the way, has been voted onto the Associated Student Government Honor Roll numerous times in recognition of both his teaching and student advising. He also has been honored with the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences Distinguished Teaching Award, and as a distinguished leader in the undergraduate community. Mark?
Thank you for the nice introduction. So I'm Mark Whitty from the Department of Economics, and we'll talk a little bit about economics in a moment, but my main role here, back one slide please, is to talk about how this is a road to business. A lot of people come to economics thinking that this is the way to go forward to get a business career. And that's not wrong, but it's certainly only one of many roads to business that you can find at Northwestern. And we talk about this idea of the three-legged stool, and that there are sort of three things you want to accomplish as undergraduates to set yourself up for a career in business. Number one would be something on the academic side, major, minor, and ancillary courses. The second would be getting good internships. And the third is to have leadership in student activities or organizations. Now, on the academic side, obviously you could major in economics or industrial engineering or psychology or math, methods and social sciences, or there are many, many great majors, social policy, learning organizational change. Then again, there are many great majors you could choose, but what you should major in is what you're passionate about. You'll do better, and just be ready in interviews to explain why it was that you chose the major you did. And that at some level, what you're going to do in the real working world isn't going to be plug in what you learned at Northwestern. It's going to be mastering a group of seemingly unrelated tasks and all sorts of knowledge, internalizing it and figuring out how to make it work. And that's pretty much what you do in every major here. You master a body of knowledge and turn it around and learn how to apply it. Anyway, so major in what you're excited about. But do take a little economics, and you should also probably take some accounting through the Business Institutions program, or they also have some nice corporate finance. Kellogg has a program. They have a variety of programs, which you'll hear about in a moment, for undergraduates from all schools at Northwestern who want to go on and learn some of the great applied tools that they have in Kellogg for the business world. It's also good to take public speaking, to take statistics, take some mathematics, take some writing courses. That there are a lot of things that we learn in all kinds of fields here that have strong applicability after you graduate. And so what you want to do is major what you're passionate about, but take enough sort of applied business-oriented classes so that on your record, you can make the case to potential employers that, yes, you know a lot about business, and yes, you're really serious about succeeding there. All right, so that's number one on the three-legged stool, the academic side. Number two, internships. You really want to have some good internships on your record, and we should help you get there. That that we have this program, the Chicago Field Studies, which is open to all students, but it's very popular for Weinberg students, which is typically a one-term full-time internship at various Chicago area, or even sometimes outside of Chicago area employers, where you get to do amazing work and get deeply involved in projects. And so you'll hear more about that in a moment. Medill has a similar program, CESP has a similar program, engineering has some co-op type programs. And so you want to find internships be it on the academic side through Northwestern or on your own in the summers or between terms or even during terms, that there are a lot of options in the Evanston, Chicago area and in the broader world where you can get involved in business and see how it's really done. And finally, you should have a lot of fun here. You should do things that you like. And that often involves being involved in organizations or activities. And you know that there are some very obvious pre-business ones. There's ISB, there's the Daily Northwestern, there's a bunch of investing clubs or entrepreneurship clubs. So ones again that are obviously business oriented, and that's great if that's what you're into. But there's things like the sailing team, there's a cappella groups, there's improv groups, there's club sports, there's all sorts of things like that, that again, not as obviously business oriented, but in the end, everything is sort of a business. Everything requires revenues to cover costs. Everything requires planning. Everything requires recruiting. Everything requires sort of organizing and strategic thinking. And so get involved in things you're passionate about, and don't just be a member, but be a leader. Be the treasurer, be the logistics person, be the president. And then when you go into the interviews, you can talk about, yeah, I've got some background in running organizations, and here's things I did, here are changes I implemented, here's things that went well, here's things that didn't go as well, here's what I would have done if I got another chance. And so through these three-legged stools, getting the academics with some business-oriented classes, getting internships in the real world, and showing leadership in managing organizations, you'll end up with a portfolio that will get you at least as prepared for the business world as getting like a straight up business degree at other schools. Anyway, that's our three-legged stool. A little bit about the economics program. So economics is open to all students at Northwestern, that it's a Weinberg major or minor, but you can do it if you're in music or engineering or wherever. And so economics is basically about how markets work, either individual markets or the economy as a whole. And it's something that is seen as being very useful for running societies or running businesses. Our program's pretty simple. You need to take essentially 12 economics classes, which we can see on the next slide. So the 12 classes would be intro micro and intro macro, and a lot of you have AP credits for that already. Applied econometrics, using data to test the stories we tell in economics. Intermediate microeconomics, about how markets or individual markets or related markets work, things like game theory and the like, and macroeconomics, about the whole economy works. And so these 6 courses are the core upon which the 6 upper level courses draw for the knowledge that's required there. And so the upper level courses would be things like corporate finance or industrial organization or development economics or behavioral economics or environmental economics or transportation or money and banking, or well, go to our webpage. There's a ton of them and they're awesome. Every single quarter, including summer, we offer all the core courses, and every single quarter we offer a ton of upper level courses. So you can start, grinding away on economics first quarter, or you can put it off a few quarters. Whenever you're ready to start, we're ready to take you in. We also require math 220 or higher and stats 210 or better. And a lot of you have like AP credits for those, like an AP, a score of 5 in the AP in statistics. I think that gets you credit for 202, but we'll take that for stats 210. You also have to have 3 other related classes, things like accounting or history or marketing or something like that. Anyway, so these are the 12 classes for economics plus the sort of side things. And essentially a major is a third of your classes here. So you can have a major in whatever school you're in and do economics on the side as a major or a minor, and still have plenty of room for things like academic internships and little girls to look over your shoulder. So that's the major. The minor is somewhat of a reduction from that. It's the 2 intro courses, it's econometrics, it's 310-1 micro, and then the second micro course, 4311 macro, and 3 more classes. We also have a BA-MA program that if you're thinking about maybe going on for a PhD and you're very into mathematics, you could do a master's degree in your senior year. But again, that's for the people on the PhD track. It's not like an MBA. That'd be more like the Kellogg programs, but it is a nice option for people who are thinking about going that way. I think that's it for economics. Oh, that's right. We'll have an information session tomorrow from 2 to 3 and Thursday from 11 to 12. Hope to see you there.
Thank you so much. Now next we have Professor Bill Rogerson, Director of the Business Institutions Program and Professor of Market Economics. Additionally, he also serves as the co-director of the Center for the Study of Industrial Organization and Research Director for Competition, Antitrust, and Regulation at the Searle Center on Law, Regulation, Economic Growth. He also has been elected to the Northwestern ASG faculty, teaching honor roll multiple times.
Well, thanks, Donna. Welcome, everyone, and congratulations on getting into Northwestern. As Donna said, I'm Professor Rogerson, and I'm the director of the Business Institutions Program, which offers a minor in business institutions. I think the best way to understand our program is that we're offering a basic minor in business, offering exposure to the 4 basic areas in business together with a few other courses. We're open to all Northwestern undergraduates, regardless of major or home school. We don't seek out mathematics in this program, but we don't avoid it either. Some of the work in business is analytic, and we probably use math at around the same way an MBA program uses math. We use it where it's necessary to help the analysis, but what we do is we have a set of prereqs that we ask people to take, and if you take these prereqs, this is sufficient mathematical training to go through our courses. So let me just start then with the prereqs. We require some calculus. A lot of you will have met this requirement in high school. We require a basic statistics course. Again, some of you may have done this in high school, but not as many of you. So this may well be a course you have to take here. And then we require the 2 introductory economics courses, Economics 201 and 202. So these are all prereqs that you need to take before declaring the minor. That's not coming from my house. I'm not sure where those sounds are coming from. Someone should probably mute their microphone. Let's see, where was I? Okay, so anyhow, these are the 4 prereqs. You should take most people try and take these sometime in their first year and then declare the minor often near the end of their first year. I think it's good to declare the minor early and begin taking the business tools courses, because I think you'll do better at internships and be more attractive to people looking for internships if you've had a few of the basic business courses that we're now going to discuss. Okay, so what's in the program itself? The core of the program are our 4 business tools courses. We offer a course in accounting, marketing, leadership in organizations, and corporate finance. And these are the 4 main areas that are explored in an MBA program. And we give you, I'd say, a high-level introduction to these subjects in the sense that they're meant for students of Northwestern caliber. So they're not watered down. These are serious courses, and they give you a really solid introduction to these 4 subjects. In addition, we have a writing and speaking and business course. And finally, you're required to take 2 electives from a list of electives on social science and humanities with a business focus. One thing you can do to meet one of these elective requirements is we have a whole range of courses, which we call our professional linkage courses, where we invite successful business people and entrepreneurs from the business world to come back and share their knowledge on a particular area of business with our students. We offer about 10 of these over the year, 3 or 4 a quarter, and you can take one of these to meet one of your elective requirements. One last thing I want to mention is that even if you're not interested in taking all of the business institutions programs, keep us in mind that you might want to take some of the courses. And we view that as a big part of our job here at Northwestern, to make these courses available to all students. You know, as Professor Whitty already mentioned, accounting would be an excellent course for all sorts of people to take, even if they weren't going to do the full business institutions minor. So keep us in mind for that too. Finally, if we could switch the slide. We too are having an information session in the next couple days, one on September 2nd, one tomorrow, and then one the day after on September 3rd. Registration is required, and there's a link here, R2B, roadstobusiness.northwestern.edu. Go there, and there's a link where you can register. Thanks for your time, and I'll be around at the end if people have questions. And of course, you can contact me via email as well if you have questions you'd like to follow up with. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Professor Rogerson. Representing the Farley Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation is Mr. Brian Brownlow, the coordinator of curriculum, who has a tremendous background in communication and theater, having taught undergraduate courses, including public speaking, performance and social change, and interpersonal and organizational communication.
Thank you for that introduction, Donna. As Donna shared, my name is Ryan Brownlow. I'm the curriculum coordinator for the Farley Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and I'm really grateful to be talking with you today. So the Farley Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation is an academic center focused on teaching students the skills that we feel are necessary for launching startups, creating new ventures, and also more broadly, and we think this is really important, we teach sort of what you might call entrepreneurial thinking, which is a mindset and a skill set that we think can be applied in any number of career trajectories. You know, the students that I work with, some of them already have startups or they're working on launching a startup in the future. But many of those students also imagine themselves having more traditional sort of corporate careers after they finish at Northwestern. We work with a lot of students who imagine themselves doing some kind of gig economy work or freelance work after they graduate. And some students who want to have a career in the nonprofit industry. So we really think that the skills that we teach are widely applicable, and our program is open to all undergraduate students at the university. We're housed in McCormick, which is the engineering school on campus. But like I said, we offer a series of entrepreneurship courses that are available to anyone at the undergraduate or graduate level. And one thing that I'll add there that's really exciting about our program is that in many of our courses, as undergraduate students, you have the opportunity to be in class alongside graduate students. Some are med students, some are law students, business students from Kellogg, the business school, and collaborate with those graduate students on projects and sort of creating startups in some of the specific industries that our coursework is focused on. So that's one really exciting thing that our center can offer. We host an entrepreneurship minor program for undergrads. The requirements for that program, they're listed here. Like I said, this program is open to all students on campus. And in fact, more of our students at the undergraduate level come from Weinberg than any other school on campus. So there's sort of a well-tread path for those of you who are starting in Weinberg. You can see here that we have 5 core requirements, and we also have 3 electives. The core requirements, there's an introductory course. There are 2 options for a leadership class. We require an accounting class. You have 2 options for a marketing class. And then as a 5th core requirement, there's what we call an experiential course, which is sort of a capstone class for the minor. As I mentioned, we also have these 3 required electives, but there's a little more flexibility with the electives. And I work very closely with students to make sure that our program works with their schedule and helps them meet sort of their specific career goals and aspirations. We do have, I'll just mention, we have a few seats left in both of our intro classes, Principles of Entrepreneurship and Engineering Entrepreneurship. So you'd be more than welcome to join one of those classes. And engineering entrepreneurship is not specific to engineers in any way, despite what the title may imply. And you can find more information about those classes on our website. Next slide. Yeah, so the last thing I'll say is that we have 2 30-minute info sessions, one tomorrow and then the next on Thursday. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., on Thursday at 2. And I hope that you'll think about attending. I'm going to share more information in those info sessions about sort of the specific details, the nuts and bolts of the undergraduate minor program. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. With Medill School of Journalism, Media, Integrated Marketing Communications is Ms. Jessica Scott, academic advisor in student life, who is also an Illinois licensed professional counselor. Her background also includes career exploration through assessment tools and incorporating counseling techniques.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Northwestern. As Donna said, my name is Jessica Scott. I am an academic advisor in the Medill School of Journalism. And I am here to represent the Integrated Marketing Communications Certificate. This is a program that is housed in Medill, but is open to any student in any school at Northwestern. And we have representation from all schools currently within the program. The Integrated Marketing Communications Certificate is based on the idea that in almost every job today, you'll be touching people and customers. And so by pursuing something like the IMC certificate, you can just learn how to better engage people in your cause, really no matter what type of job you choose to pursue. These skills that you learn within the Integrated Marketing Communications program are really transferable in a career to any career that requires effective marketing or communication using different formats in a strategic and creative way. This program is meant to build on your major, so you can major in anything and also pursue this program because it's meant to just give a little bit more of a specialized certificate that is data-driven and with a consumer focus. So if you're a student that is interested in marketing, communications, public relations, or marketing analytics, and you want to build on what you're already doing within some of these other areas of study that we're talking about, or really anything at the university, then this could be the program for you. The program does have 3 prerequisite courses that students will need to take listed over on the side there. So you will need a statistics course. This can be Stat 210 or Stat 202 or a couple other stats courses that we will accept. Students will need to take microeconomics as well. And then your third prerequisite is a social science course. Some of the examples are listed on the side that are commonly used, including social psychology, culture and society, social organizations, and there's a couple other options. So the only class that is specifically required is microeconomics, but you'll need to fill all 3 prerequisite courses before you can begin starting the coursework within the IMC certificate. Typically, students will take the prerequisite courses during their first and second year at Northwestern, although if you want to take them during your first year and start the program in your sophomore year, that's typically the earliest that students will start. The program just needs at least 3 quarters to complete it. So the absolute latest that a student can become part of the IMC program would be in the fall of your senior year. As far as the courses within the certificate go, it's a 5-unit certificate. with 3 core courses. So there are 3 courses that all IMC students will take. This is Consumer Insight, which is really the first class that you'll take, which is focused on how people consume goods, services, and how to engage consumers with a brand. The second course that you'll take is Research for Marketing Communications, which is how to design surveys and analyze results to evaluate customer behavior. And then the third class that you'll take for the core class is IMC Strategy, which is really a case studies-based class to learn how to build a strategy for a brand. So all students will take those 3 courses, and then you'll have the option of 2 elective courses, which are, there's a kind of a variety. So again, you can specialize in what you're interested. We have topics within strategic communications, within finance, within marketing, integrated marketing law, policy and ethics, message strategy and persuasive communications. So again, you would choose 2 of those electives, and then you would get the 5 units. So I usually tell people this is something that you can add on to really anything that you hear today, and is just meant to kind of give you a little bit more skill within the world of marketing, advertising, and communication. We are not having an information session, but you can find more information on the website. I will also be available if anyone has questions, or you can also email me questions as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. With Kellogg School of Management Certificate Program for Undergraduates is Professor Martin LaRiviere, who also serves as the chair of the Operations Division of the Department of Managerial Economics. His research and teaching focuses on applying economic analysis to operations management programs.
Thank you, Donna. Let me say a little bit about what the certificates do. The Kellogg Certificate Program is actually made up of 2 distinct certificates. There is one on financial economics and one on managerial analytics. And I will start by saying what these programs have in common, and then think about what happens with what these programs have in common, and then talks about what differentiates them. Both of these certificates are 4 classes. The way this program works is you're going to, we have a number of prerequisites that go through. If you want to compare this to, say, business institutions or the managerial communications examples, there you have a handful of 2 or 3 prerequisites you have to do, and then you can just sign up for the minor or the certificate. The way things work here is we have a much longer list of prerequisites, and many of them can be, a number of which can be completed as you go through the program. So you have some things you have to do before you apply, some things you can finish after you apply, but you need to finish them to be able to get the certificate. And there's actually an application process. We do applications in the winter quarter, and students start the program the following spring with their cohort. They'll be taking 1 class then, and they'll have 3 more classes to take. So you can do this in sort of 4 quarters, starting in spring quarter and then completing it the following year. Alternatively, if you apply as a sophomore, you can start as a sophomore and have the junior and senior year to complete the other 3 classes. The classes that you'll be taking are variations on Kellogg classes. These classes are, could you go back 1 slide just a sec? If you go variations on Kellogg classes, so they're MBA level. For the most part, they are based on Kellogg electives. They'll be taught by Kellogg faculty, and they'll have a structure very similar to what you would see in a Kellogg class. Key point on that is we have a lot of work in teams. And so there's quite a bit of interaction between the students as they go through, and it turns out to be one of the things that students value a lot about the program. In addition to having sort of all these dedicated classes, we have a number of co-curricular activities that go on. They're organized for our students. And we also have a dedicated career counselor who, I think if you ask any of our students, they will tell you she is wonderful. If you can skip to the next slide. So what are the so all of the, if you go and look at the prerequisites and co-requisites, you'll see that there's quite a number of quantitative material here, many times at upper levels. So where for business institutions you need to take, I think it's Econ 202, the intro micro class, we ask that you take Econ 310, sort of the intermediate level micro class, even if you're not an econ major. So we have sort of higher level prerequisites to get through this. And it's so these set students up to have a very strong quantitative background, which is what the faculty are expecting as they go into classes. And so you'll find that these classes tend to move very quickly as soon as you know quite a bit of math. Professors take derivatives without apologizing for it, which you might see it, and well, which frankly I would do in an MBA class, but I don't apologize for doing it with a CPU class. So the courses, the certificates are fairly similar in the structure and the expectations. If you go and look at where our students go, you'll find there are students who are, do the financial economics certificate, go into consulting. There are management analytics students who go into finance. So they're not necessarily tracking students directly into any one particular career path. What really differentiates their certificates in my mind is just the nature of the classes. The FE certificate, as the name suggests, is finance, finance, and more finance. And the classes have something of a laddered arrangements. This year we're offering derivatives 2. That class is a lot easier to approach if you've taken derivatives, the first derivatives class. The managerial analytics class and curriculum, in contrast, draws from like 4 different departments at Kellogg. You will be taking a finance class. You'll have the operations supply chain class that comes out of my department. The analytics for strategy class comes out of the strategy department. The competitive strategy and industrial structures class comes out of the meds department at Kellogg. So it's really it's a question of, do you want to deep dive into one topic, and the only option there is finance, or a broader selection of topics across the Kellogg curriculum, but all of which have sort of an analytical bent and a quantitative bent to that. If you are interested in doing this program, I would encourage you to start by looking at the prerequisites and co-requisites and getting to those classes as quickly as you can. Mark Whitty, in describing his 3-legged stool, pointed out that doing a major takes up about 1/3 of your classes. If you are not, we accept students from all over Northwestern undergraduate schools, but if you're not doing a program that lines up directly with the prerequisites we asked, if you're not a math major or industrial engineering major, economics, or MMSS, doing these prerequisites are going to chew up quite a bit of your free time. We have had students from CESP, for example, and it's just a big commitment on their part just to get through the prerequisites and whatnot to be in a position to take the certificate. And I think the last thing I have to say is that we do have information sessions tomorrow. If you go to the Roads to Business websites, you can find the link to register for those sessions. I think that's all I've got to say.
Thank you. And last, but definitely far from the least, with us is Chicago Field Studies, is Ms. Karen Allen, Associate Director of the CFS Academic Internship Program, who also teaches a course through Northwestern School of Professional Studies called Analysis of Field Experience. She is best described as a relationship manager and consultant to employers, career advisor, coach, and mentor to students.
Thanks, Donna Sue. I also like to call myself a matchmaker. So that's in my title. But as you mentioned, Chicago Field Studies is a 1/4 academic internship program, which means you intern 20 to 40 hours a week for an employer that interests you. And you'll enroll in one of the CFS courses that counts towards your degree completion and your GPA. Through Chicago Field Studies, we hit 2 legs of the stool. Woohoo! Internship and your academics. So in the internship, you'll gain professional experience, expand your network, and develop your technical or analytical skills and try out a field. The good news is that we help you secure an internship in a field or industry that interests you. And from every field you can imagine, we will help get it or we have it. We have over 250 employer partners who want to hire you. It is open and fair and competitive like any internship search process, and we will be using Handshake to facilitate the process. In the CFS course that you take alongside the internship, you'll meet once a week for 2 to 3 hours, remotely now, where you'll read, discuss, debate, and think more critically about work, issues, and the culture of our global workspace. The CFS course counts towards your general degree requirements. It may count toward a major, minor, certificate, or distribution requirement or theme if you're an engineer. When are you eligible? Well, after your first year of college. So if you're a transfer student, you can apply for winter or spring CFS, and the application period opens today. For the first year students, you're eligible to apply for the summer 2021. However, it's best to plan and speak with your academic or faculty advisors to figure out when you have the most time to give into an employer and when you're going to be well positioned to compete for these internships. As we are learning for the summer, you are competing with the world for internships, and employers now recruit often a year or at least 6 months ahead of time. We hope you plan for and consider CFS during your time at Northwestern. We work with over 500 students a year, and I hope to meet you and work with you at some point. Welcome, and remember, through Chicago Field Studies, we help you advance both your academic and your professional goals. We have an information session on Thursday from 2 to 3. Sign up and join us. Thanks.
Thank you, Karen, so much for sharing about Chicago Field Studies. Now, to really find out what it's like as a student in these programs, we actually have a student panel for you. As they turn on their cameras, I'm going to ask each of them to share their name, hometown, major, minor, or minors or majors, and share their version of Professor Whitty's three-legged stool, their involvements with any clubs, activities on campus, and any participation with internships. First up, Caleb.
Hi, everybody. I'm Caleb, and I don't remember everything we're supposed to say, but I'm Caleb. I am a senior from St. Louis, Missouri. I think I'm getting all of it. I study learning and organizational change and minor in entrepreneurship. As far as campus involvement, I am in the garage, which is like an entrepreneurial space at Northwestern. And I, in the past, have participated in the Black Mentorship Program, as well as the collective.
Thanks, Caleb. Ahmad?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmad. I am a recent graduate of Northwestern. I studied political science with a minor in business institutions. And I had a variety of experiences at Northwestern. I was involved in Chicago Field Studies. I actually went on an internship my junior year, and I interned for a law firm. And I've also had some internship experience in New York in finance, as well as here in Chicago. And then outside of internships, I really enjoyed the Muslim Cultural Student Association. I was heavily involved in that club, as well as the Associated Student Government, which is the student government on campus. So I've really had a great opportunity to be involved in many things and enjoyed my time at Northwestern.
Thank you. Next, we have Samantha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha. I'm a senior in Weinberg. I'm majoring in economics and political science. And then in terms of I'm also from Los Angeles. In terms of my three-legged stool, I participated in CFS during my sophomore spring and interned in finance through that, and then returned again this past summer to the same place. So I've had internships in finance. Prior to that, I also interned in law for a little bit. And then in terms of on-campus involvement, I'm in SCNO, which is one of the nonprofit consulting clubs. And I was in ISB for a bit, which is one of the big business clubs. And then I've also participated in Dance Marathon on their tech team.
Great, thank you. Next we have Marco.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Marco Espino. I am a recent graduate of Northwestern. I studied political science and business institutions. I currently work for McDonald's in our Chicago global headquarters. On campus, I was very active with the Latinx community, a part of the executive board for Alianza. I was a global learning ambassador promoting study abroad opportunities for first gen and low income background students. And I was also a commuter.
Wow, thank you. Next we have Sarah.
Hi everyone, my name's Sarah. I'm a rising junior and I'm studying economics and English and minoring in business. In terms of my on-campus involvement, I'm involved in a few different finance clubs. So Northwestern Capital Management, which is a group that manages a portion of the Northwestern Endowment. And I'm also involved in the Minority Business Association and the Investment Banking Club, and also my sorority. And I'm also a Chicago Field Studies student consultant. And then in terms of the internships, I have done a few different finance internships in equity research, private wealth management, and buy-side M&A research. And my M&A research internship was through Chicago Field Studies, and it was an amazing experience and really just opened up so many doors. So,
thanks, Sarah. Next we have Grant.
Hey guys, I'm Grant. I'm a rising senior, double majoring in mechanical engineering and economics, and I'm also pursuing the Kellogg Certificate. I'm doing the managerial analytics one. In terms of on-campus involvement, I've been involved in an organization called Young Life, and then also Delta Sigma Pi, which is a professional business fraternity. And then I'm also on the exec board for CASE, which is another nonprofit consulting club on campus. In terms of internship experience, I worked at Rust-Oleum for 2 summers. It's a big spray paint company. My first summer I did brand marketing, and the second summer I did continuous improvement engineering. And then this summer I did a virtual internship with Strategy and I'm returning to them full time.
Great. Thank you all of you for your intros. Next we will have Taylor Kim coordinating the Q&A session. So to ask a question, you can ask a question directly to the student panel and or presenter. Use the chat function or Zoom raise your hand. There were also several questions that were submitted in advance. But first, Taylor's going to have several words with Career Services.
Great, thanks Donna. It's so exciting to be talking with you all today. We're glad that you're here and interested in considering some of the programs that we're talking about. There were lots of really great questions submitted related to career preparation, so we wanted to just cover some quick general information that relates to all students regardless of what areas you decide to study. So Northwestern Career Advancement is the main career office on campus that all undergraduate students have access to and are provided support through an assigned career advisor as well as career counselor. So the areas that we can provide support include helping you to decide what it is you want to study and how that might relate to career paths, exploring different opportunities and paths for the future, working on your resumes and cover letters, searching for internship opportunities or job search support in the future, interview preparation, networking strategy, and connecting with alumni, and graduate school applications and preparation. And several students asked kind of when they could start this or what this process looks like. And we are happy to help you and excited to meet you all as soon as you would like to meet with us. So there's no requirement as to when you can meet with NCA. As soon as you're ready, you're welcome to meet with us, whether that's your freshman year, right away in the fall, or later on as you've had a little bit of time to settle in. We're here to help you. And again, regardless of what you study, all students will be assigned a career advisor that can help you with all of the internship and job search preparation, as well as a career counselor who can help you with more of that exploration throughout your time at Northwestern. And just a couple of things to keep in mind right now. You haven't started getting too many communications from us yet, but you'll start getting plenty of information sent out from our office. And one of the main resources that you'll use is Handshake, which is our kind of central resource and location where we allow you to schedule appointments with us, where we post all opportunities shared by employers, events. It's where we post information about our career fair, which this fall will be held virtually. And it's also a way that you can indicate some of your interest areas or things you might want to learn a little bit more about so that you can receive specific industry newsletters. So we can help you with this as you move forward in your process of planning. But this is just a little bit about kind of how to access information about career planning in the future. And Professor Whitty touched on this at the beginning, but there were a lot of questions about which of the programs should be selected if you're interested in a given field. If you're interested in a certain field, should you choose something over the other? You know, specific questions about pursuing consulting or banking or healthcare or entrepreneurial activities. As was kind of mentioned across the board, there's lots of different ways to gain experience, knowledge, and skills. So there's definitely not one major, minor, or certificate that you have to select. We definitely encourage you to attend the information sessions that are happening the remainder of the week to ask any specific questions about individual courses and experiences related to each of the programs. And again, career advisors and counselors at NCA can help you a little bit more as you kind of really ask those specific questions related to your planning in particular. So in terms of career planning, we're not going to answer too many detailed questions about that. We're going to try to stick to learning a little bit from our student panelists and their experiences. Thank you so much for all the questions that are already being added to the Q&A section. We will have some of our panelists will be responding to our panelists from earlier in the session will be responding. So keep an eye out on that section where there are answered questions. They're going to be responding to those as they're submitted, and then we'll try to answer any of those live that we can. But before we jump into any of those, we did want to hear a little bit more from our student panel, and we had some great questions submitted about the student experience. So to get started, and we can really jump in with any of the student panelists, feel free to jump in as you'd like to share. You don't all have to necessarily answer every question, but a couple students were wondering at what point you knew you were interested in business and kind of how you went about exploring that at Northwestern.
I can go ahead and jump on this one. I think for me, I kind of just had a general interest in business, but really didn't know what that looked like coming into school. And something that I did my freshman fall was go to the fall career fair and also the club fair. And I think that really just gave me a really good sense of, you know, what is out there for Northwestern students, what different clubs there are in the kind of the business area, whether that's investment clubs or consulting groups. There's so many different, you know, finance and business oriented clubs on campus. And that was something that was definitely very valuable for me. And also just going to the fall career fair and meeting the different employers that are interested in Northwestern students and kind of hearing what there is to offer was very useful as well.
Thanks, Sarah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would support or I'd second most of that. I think I knew coming into college that I was probably interested in something within business, although I've fluttered between different sectors within the field of business. I think something that was really helpful for me was being a part of clubs that had some pre-professional tilt. So I am in a nonprofit consulting club. So I got a lot of exposure to upperclassmen who knew exactly what consulting recruitment and consulting as a career path was like. So that let me explore that space and figure out early on if that was something I wanted to follow. Another thing is CFS, probably one of my favorite experiences at Northwestern. That was very helpful in determining my interest in different sectors of business.
Great, thanks, Sam. Anyone else? If not, we'll move on to another question. And also for our panelists, since you've all mentioned a couple different student groups that you're a part of, and we did have some students curious about which business organizations they could join, we'll definitely be happy to answer any questions at the different sessions as well. But if you all just want to type in the chat box any student groups that you were part of that might give our student attendees some ideas of groups that they might want to look into when they attend that involvement fair, or look out for things to get involved with that this fall. So feel free to, as you have time, enter that in the chat feature, and students, you can keep an eye out for that as we move on to some other questions. So also, as you think about kind of the different things that you got involved with, how did that prepare you, whether that was your areas of academic study, your internships or involvement, how did that prepare you for future opportunities, internships or full-time employment for those of you who have graduated?
I can actually start with that. I would say for me, I knew I was interested in law as well as finance. So I think my experience in the Chicago field studies really helped me leverage both my internship experience as well as my personal interests. So I interned at a small law firm downtown, and I got really hands-on experience working with an attorney, writing and helping drafting a lot of contracts for her clients. And when I was looking for full-time work, I was able to speak to that experience in my interviews about how I had some experience in the legal field, and I was very interested in pursuing at the law firm I'm currently going to work at. And I'll also just say one more thing, in that in terms of the internships I got early in my academic career, because I know for freshmen and sophomores, you think that, or I thought that it's very difficult because you don't have that much experience kind of going in when you're applying to internships. But I actually used a lot of my experiences in my clubs and activities. I remember a lot of the behavioral interviews asked, like, oh, tell me about a time when you worked on a team, or tell me a time when you experienced failure or anything like that. And I would actually talk about my experiences in my clubs and activities, being on an executive board of a club and working with different people in order to help me in those behavioral interviews for those internships.
Yeah, and I'll say I would agree with what Ahmad just said. For those of you interested in internships and jobs that are not finance, or just have a hesitancy to go into the number side of business, I was always interested in business since high school. Just keep in mind that there's so many job opportunities you can do. Right now, I'm in HR and people operations. So throughout college, I didn't get a finance internship or a consulting internship, which is a big norm at Northwestern. And if you don't, just know that that's okay. I ended up being a summer camp counselor at my local YMCA, and through BIP and career advancement, my advisors helped me identify what soft skills and talents I developed throughout those jobs that I didn't think I would have, from project management to people management, organization, communication. All those skills you can get in any internship, in any job, and then put that on your resume, so that when you're asked throughout your interviews, tell us about those times and all the behavioral questions, you're able to answer them based on any experience that you've had in a club and in a job, not necessarily business related.
Thanks, Marco.
Taylor, I think you're muted.
I'll answer one more question about Handshake. So there is, it's a system where you can meet with a career advisor. It's where all opportunities are posted for internships, job opportunities. I'll put a link to the Northwestern Career Advancement website in the chat. So most importantly, it's where you can schedule time to meet with us, and then we can really help you utilize the system and any other resources related to career planning. And I don't want to cut Caleb off. I think you had some things to add in relation to preparing for careers.
I'm sorry. I thought that you were speaking and you were on mute. So I was just letting you know.
Thank you. And we only have a couple minutes left. So as we up, if any student panelists would like to share either a favorite class that they've taken in one of the programs that we talked about today, or any advice that you would give yourself looking back to your freshman version of yourself.
I'll go. I'll answer both. So one of my favorite classes is actually one that I just took my senior year. It's a linkage seminar that was mentioned earlier with Professor Greg Letterman. The class was called Positive Entrepreneurship, and it was basically just applying that entrepreneurship mindset. So I don't really have an interest in starting a business, but applying that mindset of what are my values and what do I look for in life, and how to just keep it chill and throughout my job endeavors was really, really eye-opening. And the second question, oh, I forgot the second question. Taylor, can you repeat it?
It's okay. You could just go with that. That's totally fine. You could say your favorite class if you'd like, but that advice is really helpful.
Great.
I can share some advice. I think if I could go back and tell my freshman self something, it would just be to try as many things as I could. Right when I got to school, there's so many opportunities for new students. There's so many different clubs and just internship opportunities, trying CFS, and just doing an internship in any field is so valuable. And I think just being open to anything and everything that may come across you when you get to school is something that would be very useful for you.
I agree. I think I would say to get involved as much as you can in student organizations during your first couple years at Northwestern, because that will build the base for you to get into leadership positions in those clubs, which will also give you more to talk about when you're recruiting. And then my favorite class, well, I don't know if it's my favorite class, but again, I would recommend CFS just because it's such a good way to explore a new field that you might not have a background in, because it's so facilitated through Northwestern.
I think the biggest advice I would give would relate to internships. And I would just say, you don't need to stress out about getting the most prestigious and the best internship and everything like that. Just any sort of experience, whether it's an internship or even just a random separate job that you might get at home or something like that. Like any sort of experience, as long as you are finding a way to learn from it and gain experience and be able to talk about like how you've grown throughout that experience, I'd say that's what I would have told myself, because I was like freaking out about getting the best internships, and when I like couldn't get that and would just settle for a different internship, like I got great experience and was able to talk about it. So I would just say, like, don't waste any opportunity and make the best of any sort of job or internship you can get.
Yeah, and I would just add, don't be afraid to ask questions. I think it's very, it was very nerve-wracking for me, kind of learning about all these different careers and opportunities. I would highly, highly recommend the NCA, the Northwestern Career Office. They have people there who are willing to sit down and go through your interest and match you with careers or recommendations. And there's just so much opportunities out there. Really try and take advantage of the resources that are offered to you, as well as don't be afraid to reach out to alumni or upperclassmen. I am very eager if any freshman, I know I just graduated, but if anyone is interested in reaching out, I'm always happy to talk about my experience. And I know as a freshman coming in, when I talk to alumni or upperclassmen, they're very receptive and very kind and answering all my questions. So don't be afraid to reach out, because we were all once undergrads.
Yeah, I second that as well, especially if you're first generation, low income, or come from an underrepresented community. I'd love to help you out and connect with you on LinkedIn or email, and you can always reach out to Taylor for my contact information.
Yeah, and I just want to echo what everyone else said. I think as far as advice, I would say try to form a vision of who you would like to be in the next 4 years, or what you want to do after this, and give yourself a lot of freedom in terms of how you get there. So that might look like clubs, it might look like what you minor in, but try to do the things that give you the most freedom and that you can grow into this person that you want to be, because that's all that really matters at the end of the day, when you're applying for jobs or just being a real person in the real world. So do that and take advantage of all the resources and all the people at Northwestern. Everyone's here to help. And just never be afraid to ask for anything from anyone.
Thank you all so much for that advice. And thank you so much for attending today. There's been a couple questions in the chat feature about information sessions that are coming up. So here's one more reminder about the information sessions that are happening later this week. So definitely plan to tune into those. I believe most of them are going to be the same information, just offered at multiple times to accommodate different schedules. So you don't need to attend both for every single program. You already know 6 students and recent graduates who are all excited to support you. So you're only going to keep growing your Northwestern network of support. So please reach out to the panelists that spoke today, our student panelists. We're all happy to help you. And you're obviously all already on top of it in attending a program, and you don't need to have everything completely decided at this point. So we know we shared a lot of information today, but continue asking questions. We are here to help, and we're so glad that you were able to join us for the Roads to Business session.